What's up, everyone? We are live. It's the Philly Blitz podcast. I'm Parth. I'm here with Pierre and Quell. If you can hear my voice, I'm just like, brother, I did not want to get on today, man. It's just like I got back from the gym, get on my phone, get on Twitter. Brandon Graham speaks on A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts' relationship. And no, actually, I saw it in the group chat first. Quell's just like, why would he say this? And he's texting the group chat, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? I go and check the timeline, and I'm like, oh, what happened, man? So, ask you guys how you're doing. Quell, little throwback to P's and Q's, little weather check. How's the weather in Philadelphia today?
It's raining. It's pouring. Apparently, the old man is snoring, and it's laying out business he has no business doing.
Brother.
What is going on here,
Brother? We ain't even got to do. We ain't even really got to do the intros, man. I'm good. Let's get into it, bro. what was BG thinking, man? Why would you? What's the rationale behind saying what he said?
So we were just talking about this before Quell got on, and it's just, to me, Brandon Graham speaks from his heart. I said I'm a certain way where it's just like sometimes you're talking, you're being honest, and you just stream of consciousness, whatever you're thinking comes out of your mouth, and it's not necessarily the best thing you can do. I can speak from personal experience. It has gotten me into trouble many times, and it's something you have to taper. But it's also what we love about BG, right? Is that he's always been vulnerable. He's always been honest about things that are going on. So that raises these questions, right? But to me, I just kind of see it as like Brandon Graham, like I said, stream of consciousness sometimes. And yeah, you know what? Frankly, AJ and Jalen do need to figure it out, right? They're not on the same page on the field, but that doesn't mean, his phrasing might not have been as good as he could have made it. And I think that's what it really comes down to. Because look, we all saw it in the game. AJ didn't get targeted until we were almost through the second
Don't
quarter.
worry, I got the number for you. I believe AJ didn't get his first target until 1 minute and 26 seconds left in the second quarter.
And it's crazy that we're in this position because we're going into like, can we figure out the passing game from like, we're passing too much, let's run the ball. And we're going from, can we throw the ball to A.J. Brown, from he throws it only to A.J. Brown and not to anyone else. So Jalen Hurts is a man of extremes, if you have not picked up on that yet. But it's just mind-boggling. But at the end of the day, he's still his, like AJ Brown's daughter, her godfather is still Jalen Hurts. They were still hugging on the field beforehand. They had their little handshake 2 games ago. He's a receiver. This is how receivers are. You run up and down the field all day. Sometimes you just get frustrated, bro. And especially AJ, another player who just wears his heart on his sleeve. So I know they got to figure it out on the field, but in terms of overall, it's really tough for me to put, oh my God, the sky is falling down, AJ, and this is Donovan and T.O. again. So let me let you guys get into it a little bit.
I mean, of course, everybody, you see the quote, you read the quote, you see what happened in the game. You hear AJ's quote after the game yesterday, the one-word answer when he was asked what was wrong with the offense. He just said passing. People are going to jump to, oh, Jalen and AJ, they don't like each other. Like, this is Philadelphia, man. Like, we know how reactionary and volatile this fan base, the media, we know how it is. But at the same time, like, people, we got to use context clues. We got to use our thinking caps. Like, I don't think it's as bad as Donovan and T.O. Like, I don't think it's a situation where these two all of a sudden can't stand each other, or like it's not Donovan and T.O. levels of bad.
I mean, I don't know. I hate when y'all make me show my age, but I don't know if you old enough to remember Donovan and T.O., but I don't want to say this is exactly how it started, but for lack of a better term, it was one random game. Coincidentally, it makes me laugh so much because it happened against Pittsburgh, who happens to be opponent this week. But it was literally just one game where he just didn't get targeted, and he was at Donovan's neck, and it stirred up a pot. And Donovan didn't make it no better with his comments after T.O. got hurt. Basically, we don't need T.O. We were successful before T.O. We're going to be successful after T.O. Like, that's not how you handle the circumstance. Now, given the fact that like you said a second ago, Pierre, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, that's the godfather of his child. These are guys that have been friends since high school. Like Jalen Hurts actively tried to recruit A.J. to come to Alabama. They practiced together during the summers, like yearly. It started off as just one summer, and then it became an every summer thing. Where Jalen would travel up to Mississippi to go see A.J. Like it, they are really true friends at heart. And Jalen Hurts was at AJ Brown's draft party when he got drafted. Like my entire problem with the circumstance is we should never even know about this. Like it should have never got out. Now, I don't want to say where there's smoke is fire because like we just all outlined. I mean, hell, 32 hours ago, maybe a little more at this point, they was all on the field together. There's a photo of him, Smitty, and Jalen praying together. So it's like the week before that or 2 weeks before that, you see him and AJ doing the dance or the Fresh Prince dance. So I mean, it's so many avenues to point to where it's like, I mean, they're clearly friends. Now, again, where there's smoke, there's fire. And from what Brandon was saying, if you had the chance to listen to the entire piece, is basically, from what I got from it, I don't think Brandon respected that AJ took it to the media or said passing or made it a big thing, especially given what the team experienced last year and all that, and how a lot of things operated through the media that probably shouldn't have been there. But I think it was him basically saying, like, kind of basically blurring the lines of, I mean, yeah, you mad at him because of what he's doing on the field, or you feel like he's not producing on the field. Kind of like I said on Twitter a couple days ago or yesterday, if there's anybody on the team that has rights or the eligibility to go talk to Jalen Hurts and say, hey, bro, you not playing well, it's A.J. Brown. So I think he pulled the card of, hey, you should go, you know what I'm saying, flex your muscle. Now, I don't think he worded it correctly. And of course, as Pierre would say, those black SUVs pulled up in front of his house.
Well,
which is why we're gonna have
put the
him.
call in, boy.
We're gonna have him back on WIP in the morning, and he's already put the word out.
Did you see his response? Oh yeah, okay,
yeah.
You
I was
saw
about
his
to say
response?
it. Yeah, basically him saying that he quote unquote saying that he's assuming. Now I do think that was a bunch of damage control because I mean, buddy, you're in the building. Now at the same time, you defense, they offense, plus you're hurt. So I don't know how much you're actively around the team on a day-to-day basis now. But like I just said to someone a minute ago on Twitter, someone said to me, if he liked A.J. Brown, he would throw the ball to him. And I said, I mean, A.J. Brown has 5+ receptions and 60+ yards in every single game that he's finished, with the exception of Sunday. I don't think he don't want to throw him the ball. And even if he didn't, I don't think Mr. Since when did winning not become the main thing would let that become in between anything.
And that's the main thing to me. That's the main thing to me, bro. Like, how we get here? Like, this is an 11-2 football team that's won 9 games in a row. They won yesterday, and all of a sudden the sky is falling again.
I think it just goes into the conversation that we were planning on having today. You know, in that Jalen is struggling. You know, we can see that, like, you know, that was his worst game of the season. He didn't even hit 100 yards. Like, that wasn't the Jalen Hurts that we're used to seeing. And I think the most glaring part that was different about what we saw on the field and the Jalen Hurts that we've come to know is he was gun shy. You know, he just didn't want to take some of the throws for some reason. And so we talked about it earlier this season where, you know, is it a lot of the coaching and just kind of being like, can't turn the ball over. And because of all the turnovers he had at the beginning of the year, he's just playing extra cautious. Yeah, you know, it's spitballing at this point.
You're right. You're right. That face wasn't saying that you're wrong by any means. I think I've seen Pierre speak on it. And he thinks, well, he spoke on. He thinks that it could be a bit of a gun shy. I think he and I kind of disagree a bit there. I do think it's probably more of a coaching thing now. Like, I think he and I always say there should be some kind of gray area. Now, I'm gonna present something to you guys based on what you just said, though, Parth, and let me know what you guys think. Early in the season, there was this whole conversation about Jalen and taking care of the whole football and things of that nature. And then we came from the bye, and it kind of like, I don't want to say they took the ball out of his hands, but they became a lot more run heavy, things of that nature. Now, I took the liberty. I was looking at some of the games prior, and something clicked to me. I feel like something happened the week before Washington. The Washington game is where everything started to stand out to me, where I watched that game and I was like, did we throw the ball down the field? Turns out we threw the ball down the field twice that game. Well, passes over 20 yards. It was 2. But it made me wonder. And I went back. And of course, the Dallas game was the last time that Jalen Hurts had an interception, where it was the Trayvon Diggs pick. And I don't want to say that he made a bad decision. It was just a great decision by a defensive back, like we kind of decided.
Yeah, we discussed this. Yeah.
But do you guys think that after that, there was a discussion had to tell Jalen not to put the ball in harm's way? The reason I say that is because against Jacksonville the week prior to the Dallas game, he threw the ball 20-plus yards 4 times. Against Dallas, that same game, he threw the ball 20-plus yards 5 times. Now, over the course of the next, month, from the Washington game on to Carolina, he has thrown the ball down the field 20-plus yards a collective 4 times, twice against Washington, once against the Rams, and once against the Ravens. He didn't throw the ball down the field against the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, much of that probably against some pressure, but still. Do you guys think there was a conversation had with him, which is why we're at this point?
That's what I was saying. That's what I think is the main issue here, is that in trying to get him to step back a little bit, just take care of the ball a little bit more, maybe not take as many shots. I think he took it to the extreme, or maybe that was the coaching point, whichever one it was. And he's frankly just playing neutered. Like, it's not the Jalen Hurts that we know. His superpower was also the deep ball and how accurate he could be with it. And it comes with interceptions. That was part of the game. They're 50-50 balls, right? And we've talked about that for the last, 3 years since A.J. Brown has gotten here. And so now you're completely right. I mean, you don't even need to look at the stats to just eye test. You can see that they're just not throwing the ball down the field nearly as much. So, yeah, I think it's coaching points as well. And there's just something not clicking, right? And that's what Jalen said. He said, what's lacking in the offense? Synchronization. He said it multiple times. He had his longest time to throw. It was like 3.94 seconds, something like that last week. I mean, the big improvement that we saw, right, at the beginning of the year was that he improved against the blitz. He got the ball out quickly. And, last year that was our Achilles heel. And this game, it just felt like that it just disappeared. And this game kind of put an outline for other teams and like how you're supposed to try to fight this Eagles offense, right? Because they can run the ball on you, but if you can run the ball on them as well, and we'll talk about the defense later, but if you can run the ball on them as well,
yeah. But
my point is, we only had, listen, I have one point about this, is we scored touchdowns on 3 of our 8 drives, right? Mm-hmm. So that's good. That's good. That's a good percentage in terms of how often you scored, but we only had 8 drives, right? So the average amount of drives that you usually have in a game is around 11. We had 3 less drives than average. And so if you have those drives, maybe we're talking about a different game, a different outcome, but we didn't have as many chances with the ball. And then, we're dealing with stuff on special teams as well, right? You're not confident with your kicker. And so it all has a trickle down effect, in my opinion. So I'm curious to hear what you think about this.
So my thing is, regardless of if it was a coaching conversation or if it's Jalen himself, not trying to turn the ball over, playing, I guess, risk-averse football, you can see that something happened. Like, the way he's playing now, it's a complete 180 from the way he was playing at the start of the season. Like, you see it in the hesitation, you see it in the indecisiveness, like where he's about to throw, then he pulls it down, and then it's clear that something happened, right?
Completely right. Yeah.
It's something happened, right? So, and then it's like even the routine throws, he's not even hitting on those. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's not just Jalen himself, because I don't like to look at things through just one lens, especially when it comes to football. But like, to me, it's not just Jalen himself. Kellen Moore is involved in this. Nick Sirianni, like Doug Nussmeier, the entire offensive staff. It's on them to get him to a point to where he's executing the offense at a better level. Like, they got to get it figured out, man. It's 6 games left in the season for the playoffs. 4? 6?
Yeah. Well, I believe so. But this was probably my biggest fear heading into the season. Probably one of the few things that I like. I'm a very superstitious guy, so certain things I just try not to put in the air. I feel like if you don't mention it, it won't happen. But I mean, for lack of a better term, 2021 happened. Jalen Hurts, they actively had to take the ball. And I hate it when we said it like that then, and I hate it when we say it like this now. But for lack of a better term, they actively took the football out of it. So they set rushing records, historically became one of the NFL's best rushing teams because they ran the ball so much in 2021. And a lot of that was due in part because they was trying to figure out exactly how to utilize the quarterback their first year with them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, trying to implement him into a system where he's learning too. Y'all not just learning him, he's learning this too. And you fast forward to modern day, and it's like, I don't want to say that they took the ball out of his hands because, I mean, they're giving him opportunities. Maybe not as many as we'd like. I mean, we'd love to sit here and say Jalen Hurts threw the ball 30 times a game, but we just don't have to. At the same time, you can see him struggling in the offense just like you did in 2021. And I mean, we continue to talk about this for the last couple of weeks. We talked about it early in the year of, well, hopefully we can keep Quell in and things of that nature. But I do think that it's been a strenuous offseason and season for Jalen Hurts, trying to, reinvent himself as a quarterback. I kind of I alluded to this early in the season or prior to the season started, where it kind of reminded me of what was going on in college of Jalen Milroe and him trying to implement himself into the Kalen DeBoer offense, where Kalen wants to throw the ball across the yard. That's not Jalen Milroe's game. It wants to be his game, but how do you make what you want to do and tie it to what he can do and meet in the middle? And we all want to talk about the success that it could be if you could meet in the middle. I don't think there's enough conversation had about the struggles that we had up to that point.
Absolutely. And we had those conversations at the beginning of the season, and we talked about the history of first-year coordinator and quarterback combos and all these different types of things. So, I mean, this leads me to a question that I had for you guys. How do you guys feel about the Kellen Moore experience, right? We put Fangio famously on Fraud Watch, Pierre and I, like week 3, and then he just, made us look like complete idiots. And so that happened.
I never put my goat on Fraud Watch.
We can go back. Quell remembers, but Quell was holding it down. I'll give credit where credit is due. But Pierre's like, no one actually remembers or listens, so I can just say no. So, but what? We're week, what is it?
15.
God, week 15 now. Kellen Moore's been here through the summer. How do you guys feel about the Kellen Moore experience? Because where I'm at, I've been just extremely whelmed. That's just about where I'm at. We saw improvements.
My man said whelmed, not under, not over. He just whelmed there.
Exactly. Because, I mean, look, we saw improvements with the blitz, against the blitz. That was like the big thing from last year. That was our Achilles heel. Couldn't get past it. And Jalen has improved significantly against the blitz. So give credit there to the coaching staff, to Jalen, to everything. So they found some outlets there. But for everything else, man, I honestly, it doesn't feel that different. It still feels like sometimes there's just like some route combinations that maybe they're not comfortable for Jalen. Now, this also goes in the conversation we were just having, Quell, about, you're marrying two different systems. So curious. Go ahead.
Let me address this first, Pierre, because I feel like how I'm gonna leave this is perfect for you to answer, especially given the fact that, I mean, we do this to Parth all the time. It's only right that we do the big cafe too, but we told you from the start of the season that this was your project. Any and everything, all results of this offense were relayed to the Kellen Moore supporter. And I mean, I can understand why you say what you said, Parth. I mean, that's why I made the relation back to, well, if only we can get a second year, look what happened from 21. I mean, from 21 to 22 with Jalen, and maybe we can see the same thing here with Kellen. At the same time, you also alluded to route concepts, and the most frustrating thing about Kellen for me, I mean, let me start by saying that I'm not disappointed by any metric. I mean, I do feel like I'm watching a much better offense this year than I watched last year, which, I mean, What can that say? Offense,
Right.
sucked. But at the same breath of saying that, what disappoints me, and I should have seen this coming from the piece that Pierre released. And I mean, I guess it was more of optimism while I was operating by blind faith. But we have no plan. We talk about the Eagles and the identity, and yeah, they love to run the ball now. I'm glad they figured out we could do that. But when it's time to throw the ball, we talked all year about lacking of marriage and things of the offense where it's like I seen somebody say it felt like they just ran counter over and over and over again against the Panthers, but they did nothing to tie it together.
Right.
And
What's the other
I
side?
mean, they
of
tried. They tried, Jalen. They tried. The RPO with the little the slant on the back end of it. They tried.
I said it too. I was like, right before that play, I was like, give me the RPO shot. Give me the RPO shot. Give me the RPO shot. And it came and he just
one play doesn't excuse you from 100%. An entire game.
100%. I agree.
And what Quell said about that as well. Quell, why don't you just speak to that real quick? Because that has gone kind of viral on Twitter today in terms of like that play with JC. Do you want to just speak to that a little bit? Because you made a good point about that.
Where in terms of, I just think that Jalen, I don't want to say Jalen came off too early, but for lack of a better term, I don't think he gave it enough time, which, I mean, why would he? If we just had the conversation talking about could it be coaching or what's in his ear and things of that nature. Early on in the season, if Jalen stays on that, we sitting here saying he's holding on to the ball too long if he doesn't make that pass. I mean, if he tries it and it doesn't turn out how he wants it to. So he comes off it. JC, smartly enough, I believe they were in cover 3. He knows he's seen this concept before. He's seen Jalen eyes come down. I'm going to the cell. He kind of comes off his man. Now, I mean, it'd have been nice if Jalen was still looking at AJ then or doing some cool stuff like I'm gonna look the corner off and I'm gonna go back to him. He's just going through his progressions at that point. And once he's seen them crash down on the cell, the only thing left is the dump off. And it really looks bad at that point because when you're looking at it on film, it's like, dang, he wide open. Why you ain't? Are you gun shy? Why you not throwing the ball? Fire the ball in, man, because it's right there for you. And it doesn't help when you see circumstances like the passes in the red zone where he passed up to AJ. Where I do believe that probably would have been an offensive pass interference because of the route that opened him up, but he ended up going to Devonta for the touchdown. Or even the second touchdown where he went to Grant, where I'm pretty sure you probably could have went to AJ again. It would have felt a little easier, but just he left a lot of meat on the bone, or as he would put it, it was a lot of money on the table, and it could be fixed. Like AJ said, man, all this stuff can be fixed. Like I feel like everything that what AJ Brown was saying got taken out of context from the first words, passing. If you listen to the rest of the interview, he offered great explanations as to why he felt like this. And at the end, he said it could all be fixed. We just got to go back to work and put our head down.
You know that quote don't sell, though. The rest of that don't sell.
Apparently nothing sells in Philadelphia.
Kellen Moore.
Defend your GOAT.
I think, you know, I wouldn't say I've been underwhelmed or just whelmed. I think I've been, what's the word? Not surprised. I can't think of the word. More. I'm blinking. Yeah, I think I expected more, but at the same time, like I'm cool with what we've seen so far. Like to me, this entire thing was about making this offense look more kind of cohesive. And like you said, Quell, like I do think we've seen at times, it wasn't this yesterday, but at times we've seen them look kind of more like a cohesive unit. Like they seem to have a sort of plan of attack on a week-to-week basis. At the same time, it's not consistent. And then as of late, just Jalen, his play in general, it hasn't been good enough, and that falls on the shoulders of Kellen Moore, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think like as a whole, right now, the entire operation needs to be better, man. That's Kellen, Jalen, Nussmeier, Patullo, everybody. But I think like you said, Quell, like AJ said, the tools are there. Like it's I don't think it's a thing where it's not like last year. It's not like last year where they just don't have any rhyme or reason. But yeah, I think it's the tools are there for it to be fixed.
What I would push back on that about is that it has felt like it's been a collection of plays sometimes, and we've said that
at times. Yes,
this season, and so I feel like those have outweighed the amount of times that I felt like everything was cohesive. I feel like a lot of these games, we ran the hell out of the ball, and people couldn't stop it. We got Superman back there, right? And then we got even with Jason Kelsey gone, we still got one of the best O-lines in the NFL, if not the best O-line. So I think those things definitely help. That's why I say I've been whelmed, is because I think there has been some improvement, but this hasn't been what it was supposed to be built, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Kellen Moore has led these top 5 offenses.
But to that point, like, I still go back to Jalen's quote from training camp where he said it's 95% new. Like, it's still a new system.
Yeah,
it's still going to take time for the entire unit to gel. Like, we like to gloss over this, but A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Saquon, they haven't played like.
No, y'all like to gloss over this.
Numbers.
I've been saying that. Y'all called me a madman. Y'all told me it did not matter. They need to play better because they are the Justice League.
I mean, but both of those things can be true. The fact that they haven't played, but you still, even when one of them doesn't play, you still have good players on the field. Those two things can be true. Sure, they don't have chemistry.
It's the same thing, though. It's
agreed.
Chemistry matters. Timing matters.
Chemistry matters, but it's also week 14. Injuries happen in an NFL season, and coaching just needs to be better around that, right? You need to be able to adjust to injuries. It's injuries accumulate over the NFL season.
I guess the best example I can lay out, literally the greatest example I can lay out, is we're all Sixers fans. We don't sit here and say, well, Joel's not playing. Well, I don't want to say we don't. We do. We didn't expect to be sitting there with 2 wins at a point in time. But you're not sitting there and saying the masses weren't like, well, Joel's not playing, but we got Tyrese and we got Paul, so you guys better win.
I disagree. I think people were saying that. And
I said it wasn't people saying it. I said the masses. The vast majority of people continue to say, yeah, but wait till we get everybody together. And even if it was Joel playing and Paul didn't play, like every time we had 2 of the 3, but not all 3, it was just wait till we can get them all together. And I mean, like we continue to say, that's because chemistry matters. Our whole problem with this is, how do you guys expect to get to the playoffs and win games if y'all ain't got chemistry? Because we understand the importance of chemistry. I don't think it's any different.
Agreed. And I'm not trying to take away. I'm not trying to take away from chemistry, but these guys have played together in the past, right? It's not like they don't know each other at all. Agreed. It's a new system and all those things matter. But on your Sixers analogy, what I would push back on is the Sixers thought they'd be able to win games without him. I mean, they announced at the beginning of the season that Joel wouldn't play back-to-backs.
I mean, that's why they signed Paul.
Exactly. So the assumption is that, hey, we have these other stars. They should be able to bear some of that load. And frankly, that's what happened this year, right? Saquon did that. Saquon literally put the team on his shoulder some of these games, and that's why he broke Shady's record mid-season. He did do those things, so they were able to win. But now we're seeing, right? And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I brought it up. I was like, the passing game is still underwhelming. They need to improve there because you just have too much talent to be looking like this, and it's not just at receiver, it's the quarterback talent too. Like Jalen is talented. We've seen it. And it's just so frustrating, dude. It's just such a circular conversation because Jalen will play like he's just scared all game, and then he'll have a play. We'll go quick game, and he looks so much better. Or he'll have a play where he just doesn't really have a chance to overthink. What I think of is that crosser to Devontae, where he's running and just kind of fires it into Devontae. You see those throws, and you're like, dude, it's still here. So that's what's just the frustrating part about all this, is that they're just not putting it together on a consistent basis.
He's thinking too much, man. He's thinking too much, and that I keep going back to. You can see it in the hesitation with which he's playing with, man.
You literally see him put the ball down, or like look and you can see him like almost be like, oh, I don't want to throw that. That's
like the Wentz double pump.
Lord, they turn my goal into check down Charlie.
So check down Charlie with aura. Couldn't forget the aura. I was crying. I was like, Pierre couldn't forget the aura. He was like, you know what? I will say, you want to talk about aura? I was listening to the Saquon interview, bro. That the Kobe earring is fire, dude. That thing is iced out. I didn't realize how that thing was like blanging, bro. I was like, oh my god, that thing's got to be like $20K for the earring. That was crazy, and it's one earring. Jalen can step it up, man. He just got the hoop. Get the Kobe earring. Come on.
Left that sentence that Jalen can step it up.
Exactly. One of this podcast, Jalen, step it up, bro. Like, because you're better than this, and that's why that's why we're getting at what we're getting at.
No.
I don't even want to go there. I don't want to entertain it yet. The question for the audio listeners is,
we are stuck.
Yeah,
it
think
costs
this
too much money.
Right. Think this over exaggeration, but with Hurts and AJ, does this cause one of them to leave? Yeah, I don't think any of us really think that's a possibility right now, and I don't think that's even worth our time to get into that conversation.
Y'all remember that made up quote from back in the day of how Howie Roseman smacked Carson Wentz and and all this? He said, "You better figure it out." I think that quote might become real if they try to leave before this 3-year window is up. Like, no, you're stuck here. I think Howie might, that same room closet he was stuffed in, he gonna put him right there. Like, look, y'all gonna sit there until y'all figure it out.
Put Kellen and Jalen in the same closet. He's like, you're not coming out until you figure it out. So that comment mentioned, or it didn't mention it, but the immediate analogy that everybody talked about was, T.O. and Donovan. So Donovan had a quote this morning. It's two grown men. If you got an issue, you come up to me. Let's not go through the media because it blows up. Now what you said is out there in front of everyone, which is what we talked about. There's truth to that.
Is that right?
T.O.
Is that what you should do?
Yeah, exactly right.
Kind of like what T.O. did, huh?
It seems familiar. I don't know why. So then T.O. quote tweets the quote, says, "Fly Eagles fly." He ats all of them and he says, "Let's go. Block out the noise and keep doing y'all thing. Ain't nothing wrong with wanting to be more efficient in the passing game. Sign of someone wanting to be the best." You get both sides of it.
Wait, no, there was another one. There was another one. Yeah. Wait, let me find it.
That ain't the tweet that the streets want to hear about.
Oh yeah, he said he quoted it. He said, "This is T.O." He said, "Now this is interesting coming from you. Not how I interpret it, but funny thing is, I agree with you on the idea of if you have an issue with someone, that you go to them and not the media. But here's the thing: I never had an issue with you, but it's known that you had an issue with me. So maybe you should have taken your own advice here. Oh yeah, and we might have won Super Bowl 39, but that's another story for another day."
Then he added Freddie Mitchell. He added Freddie Mitchell and said, "Thanks for sharing." So that indicates that there is a receivers group chat from that Eagles team, and they still keep in touch and they send quotes about Donovan McNabb.
As they should.
Oh man, dude,
brother, it's been over 20 years, right?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's
been
crazy.
Like 20 on the dot, I think.
Yeah, that is insane.
2004.
That's insane, bro. We grown men here.
It ain't no date on Get Back. Feelings don't die.
As a hater, I can confirm. You're just waiting on your day. Just waiting on your day. So listen, we talked about the offense a little bit. All of our score predictions were way off. First off, I mean, we were all saying like 35-10 and everything. So I mean, I just wanted to preface this segment now with just shout out to Bryce Young, man. You get benched during the year. Media is the media and all these types of things. And for him to respond the way he has last couple games, it's encouraging to see. And it's fun to watch. And it sucked because I've been cheering on Bryce Young so much last couple weeks, just underdog story, that I was like, damn it, dude, this time it's on the Eagles. Like, I don't like it when he does this. Like, don't do it to us, bro. You can do it to other teams, just not to us. I mean, that third down in the red zone really stood out to me. That was stuff. And to throw it to Xavier Legette, if he catches that,
I don't know how my mental. I don't, especially with everything that's going on right now. I don't think my mental could have taken a 98-yard Bryce Young comeback victory. 98 yards, bro. 98 yards.
Dude, I thought Josh had that sack. I was like, get him. Milton Williams like fell over. I'm like, no. And then the ball's gone. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh.
Bryce Young almost walked him down, bro.
He almost broke me as a man. So, I would have been in pieces.
But that was the most Eagles game ever, bro. Like I think we was talking about it, but that was the most Eagles thing to ever happen. Like,
they played to the level of their opponent
every single time, brother. They did it against the Browns. They did it against the Jaguars.
And then they did it against the Ravens.
Like,
it's just like, hey, can you guys figure this out, bro? Like, just be a consistent team. They're just like so. Oh man. So
you can tell when they come to practice and it's like, yeah, you guys, we got a sweetie this week.
Right. You're not even you're like half joking, but you're so right. It literally just feels like that. But yeah, so Bryce Young played well. Stat line didn't look amazing, right? But I think from the eye test, from anyone watching, it was just like, oh, he played well. He's figuring things out. Adam Thielen had a resurgent day. I mean, he looked like 2019 Adam Thielen again.
The white on white crime was crazy.
It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. So somebody said online, so we found Cooper DeJean's weakness. It's white receivers. So let's not play the Chargers and Lad McConkey because that could get ugly. But
somebody need to drop that Soldier Boy meme.
Which one?
Them crackers.
There's so many Soldier Boy memes. I'm like trying to go through my head. I should have known. It sucks, dude, because little hint for the listeners. We got some graphics of the white boys ready to use, and they just did not have their best game, man. I mean, the defense in general. But so Sheil Kapadia said this on the Ringers Philly special. He talking about the full game. He said there's two ways to look at this game. One is that it's like, one of those weird games like from 2022 where like the 2022 Bears game, for example, right? Where it was ugly, squeaked out a win, whatever, you kind of let it go. Or it's a little bit like some of the wins in 2023 where it's like, okay, we see some of these weaknesses, we squeaked away a win. I don't know how to feel about this. So, I don't know how I feel about the offense on that. But the defense,
that's the problem.
The offense, I tend to be a little bit more on the second one, but I mean, I just want to remain positive because they're good and they've won games. So I think they can still figure it out and they have talent. So we don't even need to get into that. I brought it up for the defense. I think it's more so the first for the defense, where it's just like sometimes you just have a game where like, people play well. They get paid on the other side too. And, they still held them to 2 touchdowns. You almost a third. It would have been bad, but, for the amount of reserve players that we had out there and the amount of rotating that we were doing, I think the defense did fine. And again, shout out to Jalen Carter, dude. This guy just gets better every week, man. He is a beast.
He's an active listener of the pod, and he heard Parth say that your fat bleep wasn't playing enough snaps last year. You and your bleep teammate.
Listen, he got on the Ozempic. He's fine. No, but I mean, to play every snap is it's incredible. And every week, especially at D tackle, I know I keep saying it, but it's nuts. There's not players doing that, and it's just something to behold. He had 3 quarterback hits on the first drive. It's just really crazy, and they were holding him like crazy. They had this. I mean, I'm sure y'all saw it on Twitter. They had like the freeze frame of like showing what Bryce Young was looking at, and Jalen Carter's being held in a headlock, like as he's like trying to go. It's like, brother, y'all aren't gonna call this.
It was one. He was just on the floor, like he didn't. Bryce, you can see Bryce over here scrambling to the left, and Jay, you can actively see Jalen Carter on the floor, like. What are y'all not gonna call this?
Being held down, like they're holding on to him for dear life. The discrepancy in like penalty calls has also just been weird. Bro.
Insane.
You don't want to just keep getting into like refs, but it was like that last week. It's like that this week. The holds have been out of control. Then there was like the face mask on Grant Calcaterra, which was like, brother, he flipped him by.
That was right there.
How did you not see that?
He was right there.
I don't know, man. That was something else. But also got you know me. Got to give a shout out to my boy CJ laying the boom. That was a huge hit. Then goes down injured the next play, comes back, gets back injured again, then comes back. When I saw the Sendejo or when I saw the CJ hit against Zach Bond, I thought immediately of Sendejo. I was like, brother, this could be so bad if they do it again.
And then McCollum hit him again.
I know, dude. I'm just like, CJ's like, they're gonna have to kill me before they take me off the field. I love it. I love it. It's like, I mean, you technically went off the field, but like you came back, so that's what matters. I'm not leaving. He really was laying the boom, and he got a pick again. So good game from CJ. Of course, got beat in the red zone, but hey, he got injured and he got a pick. So we'll just ignore.
I like some of the stuff we saw from the edges too, outside linebackers, specifically Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith. I really think they flashed a ton.
They had Hunt playing. They had Hunt playing spy at the end. He had that big tackle. Oh, also, listen, if I'm gonna hate on him, I'll give him his credit. Jordan Davis. It was like the reminiscent of Josh Allen.
Somebody
he can run, man. He is big
for the rest of the year.
He can run. That's what I was like. All right, just be. They took him out the next play. They were like, brother, catch your breath, don't stay out there. So that was a hell of a play. But yeah, that was amazing. And then you mentioned linebackers. Zach Bond, man, Zach Bond. He is.
You know that he's the highest graded coverage linebacker since Luke Kuechly.
Like per PFF or just
yes?
How did this happen?
I don't think anybody else grades like that.
How did this happen? Like
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Big Fangio. Big Fangio.
We talk about all these other teams and Black Magic.
We got it, guys. We got a linebacker. Like he was bad other places, and he came here and he became good. Good linebackers come here and suck. What are we doing? This is amazing. But dude, he has to be in the All-Pro conversation. I mean,
he has to be first team.
It's not exaggeration.
Somebody say that he might be the defensive player of the year. He just might be, and I'm like, I ain't gonna argue against it.
Give us Deep Boy and D-Roy. Just give it to us. Give it to us. Special player. Also, Nakobe Dean, man, he's a small dude, but he can hit. There was one play where Chuba Hubbard was like running the ball, and I'm like, I was cooking something, so I was just like looking away for a second, and I just hear just this huge hit, and I just look over, and it's Nakobe Dean just demolishing him, and I was like, oh my god, brother, like take it easy. He's got a family at home.
No, but to answer your question, I do think it's much more of the first, where I guess my whole situation is Pierre spent the last couple of weeks talking about Black Air Force One's football. Carolina Panthers played Black Air Force One's football for sure.
They tried.
They tried. No, they didn't try. They did it, and we escaped with our tail between our legs because some guy had an injured wrist and couldn't catch the ball in the red zone. But that being said, I don't think I talked about how quality the Panthers offensive line was. I think their game plan was very solid. I don't think that game plan is very replicable. It can be, but it'll be very difficult because you would have to I meant to save this number for a different conversation we were having, the Jalen Hurts, but I didn't get a chance to use it. But it kind of fits here. But you look at some of these teams these run heavy teams in the league where they rank in terms of passing. And I mean, of course, you got us all the way down at 31, but you got the Commanders at 5. You got the Commanders at 18. You got the Ravens at 5. You got the Lions at 4. You got the Packers at 11. That's just to name a few.
Can I ask you a question real quick though, based on that statistic? If you were to say, with one word, there was an issue with the offense, what would you say it was?
Off is the direction you can go. Sorry. Just seeing, I guess my whole point of bringing that up is, you can try to replicate that against the Eagles. How many people have the personnel to replicate that? I think the Panthers were able to kind of go, as Parth would say, balls to the wall and just sell out on it. You ain't got nothing to lose. It's not like you have the best weapons at wide receiver. Your best asset is you running the football with Chuba Hubbard. And you would have liked to have Jonathan Brooks. Shout out to him, man.
That sucks, bro. That was sad. You never want to see a guy go down like that.
A re-tear.
And they said it was the same one. Yeah, it was a re-tear. Yes.
Oh,
that's so frustrating.
It was the ACL.
But just you kind of had an idea, it's one of those, what we're gonna do. We know what we're gonna do, but can you stop it? And they, you seen the Eagles out there trotting out 5-6 man fronts. And we talked about, I believe it was the Ravens game, the Commanders game, coincidentally, 2 teams that are on that list. But those run heavy teams and even against those teams, how often they allocated those 5 or 6 man fronts to try to stop them. It was there, but they still didn't go too far from their nickel and things of that nature. Versus last week against Carolina, or yesterday against Carolina, it was so much 5 and 6 man fronts because Carolina would not stop running the ball. And I don't think there are many teams that are going to sell that commitment to running the ball like that. every single Chuba. I was almost convinced Chuba would have got 30 carries that game.
They were talking about it on commentary.
Yeah, I mean
Well, go ahead, Parth.
I was just gonna say he averaged 3.8 yards per carry, but it did not. Same thing as Bryce Young, and it didn't feel like that, and they were impactful carries. You know, it wasn't just like 3 point whatever every week. Got ours sometimes, but he got his too, man. He was.
The broadcast mentioned it about Saquon and how he averaging 7 and the NFL average is 4. Then you watch Chuba and it's like he getting that NFL average over there. He ain't missing.
Yeah,
he ain't Saquon, but he ain't missing.
Right.
But the second thing that stood out before you go is Cooper DeJean. I can't let you escape, brother. I love you. But if you go back to my scouting report, that was the one thing I always said. Boy, if you have somebody that's going to make him move laterally from side to side, which is basically what Adam Thielen did. They said, we're not going to let you be able to run downhill at us. We're going to keep you on the move, and we're going to take you on these drags and crosses and all this. That's not his game. And I don't want to say I'm concerned about what was put on tape, because, I mean, I'm all right with Vic and how Vic can hide him, but it's on tape now.
Yeah, so going back to your question, Parth, I kind of push back against it being the second part of it, and I think I want to go to Nick's message to the team after the game when he talked about not being a prisoner of your own expectations and enjoying the journey, but still kind of understanding, still understanding that there's a lot to clean up. That was really poignant to me because Nick's the same coach that was in the locker room last year. Like, he saw the collapse. Like, we always talk about it in terms of how it was covered. I think the way one outlet described it was like the most miserable 10-win team. And like, if you go back, a lot of their wins, it was the just squeaking it out, like out talenting teams. But at the same time, like, their response in the locker room was a lot of, like, I guess the word to use would be defiance, I guess. Versus yesterday, it was more like, hey, we know, that wasn't up to the standard for what, we need to be successful, right? So I think that it's different this year because they understand what the standard is, right? Like, they experienced, the collapse of last year, right? And so I think they know how not to let this spiral.
You just have to be careful because this is how it started last year. AJ had like a quote about being frustrated. No, it was the sideline stuff, right? Like, he was frustrated on the sideline, and then he gets to go on WIP, and then there's the meetings. You just don't go to the media, man. You just keep it in house. Quell said it at the beginning, we shouldn't have known about this. That's what it comes down to. I don't think it's fully 2023 by any means, but definitely raises some questions about like this passing off. They got to figure it out, because if you can say you depend on a good rushing offense and a good defense, and that can take you far. But if you have the passing offense to capitalize on the running game,
it's just being complimentary.
Exactly. Like, your running game will get better.
I think that's everybody's problem right now.
Exactly.
They don't feel like the offense is complimentary, particularly the receivers. Like, even on AJ's quote where he got asked, do you feel like it's harder to get in a rhythm with the lack of reception? I mean, lack of targets and things of that nature. But I mean, like,
he lead the team in targets, though.
Yeah, you lead that's two things can be true. You can lead the team in targets, and you can't be seeing the football. Well, yeah. Like, you're actively seeing
look at how many targets Jamar
gets go down. And now I'm glad you said that. Like, as I listen to him talk, always go back to him on Twitter last year before he deleted himself, just kind of like salivating over what the workload Dallas gave CeeDee Lamb. Like, basically, you can tell that he was like, yo, like, they feeding him. This is what the streets need right here. And he's just
not to cut you off, but going back to the Kellen Moore conversation, I think that's what some fans expected out of this offense. Like, they expected AJ and Smitty to be fed targets at volume, right?
But see, that's what happens. And you got that issue where you feed them, because we talked about what I said the quote a week ago, I believe it was, how many AJ, Smitty, Goddard, I believe it was Barkley, one of them, it was three of them. I can't remember who the three was, but how many targets were funneled to them and not other players. It was 3 targets over, I believe it was 6 targets or 3 targets over a 2-week span. That was 29 passes, and only 6 passes went towards other players not named them. And now you got a game like this week where they only got 10 targets between AJ and Smitty, and other people saw 8. And it's like, well, not targets, receptions.
Yeah.
But we got to find a fine line, man. We keep talking about this gray area, and it's like you can't sit here and say, well, I thought AJ and Smitty would get the ball 46 times a game. But then when they get the ball 46 times a game, you complaining that Jahan Dotson not seeing the rock.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're going to have, well, he was 8 and 6, you said. So, I mean, if you have like 14 receptions, look, like 8 of them got to go to Devontae and AJ, and then 6 of them can go to the other. It has to be the opposite, like, and that was the issue with yesterday. It's just like, and there's nothing wrong with the other guys getting the ball too, but you have to find a way to get your really good players the ball too. I mean, it's nice. Grant Calcaterra caught his first touchdown. You see his family. That was awesome moment. Those things are really cool, so those things are special. But at the same time, brother, you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith throwing the ball too. So, I mean, you're right, Quell. It's just balancing expectations and making the right play and doing what's best, and also making sure they're happy. It's not an easy job. It's a lot. That's why being a quarterback is hard. That's why they're paying Jalen Hurts so much money. But it's on him to figure it out, and they got to do better. There was a question. Is there? Yeah, go ahead, Pierre. I know I keep cutting you off.
Chief among the issues right now is just getting Jalen back to somewhat average, because he's playing below average right now. Just get him stable. Just
you see the pain in his ass,
bro. It's hurting. It's hurting.
The pain in his ass.
It's hurting.
Do y'all know Pierre told us he didn't have no aura the other day? I was like,
bro,
what?
My dog had no
aura. I never thought I'd hear that.
Bro. I don't know. I don't even know if this was a design run or what it was, but like it was like
he ran into Lane Johnson.
32 and 4th and 2. And it's like, brother, the hole is right there. Run. And he ran into
that hole did close fast as hell. Like the pulling guard got through, Saquon got through behind him, and it was like
his aura wasn't the lead blocker, so then it closed up. Of course it did, Quell. It's because he doesn't have the aura right now. You need the aura.
That's what it is, man. Like he just looks like he's playing with no confidence.
Yeah, listen,
just gotta get him. And like you talked about it, Parth, in the chat. Like it's on again. That's why I keep going back to it. That's why I don't look at it as it just being a solely Jalen issue, right? Like they got to get him. They got to get him stabilized, man. Like
we talked about it.
Get him some layup throws.
The rhythm,
huh?
Yeah,
that's always on the OC.
Yeah.
If you got to get, and I mean, we talked about the time of Jalen not taking them. I mean, that's a different conversation there. But you got to get your guy some layups. If you 100%. See him struggling, like get him the ball, like get him something simple.
Yeah, 100%.
But the thing
he's a great rhythm passer. Yeah,
but the thing is, like we go back to even some of the layup rhythm throws, he's not taking those.
Yeah.
And
so they got to figure it out, man. I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, but like, I mean, we talked about this for so long in the group chat, and we can't come to a conclusion because there's not an easy one, and it's something that they're only going to be able to figure out in-house because something happened, and he's clearly not the same player.
You guys have been right.
Huh?
You guys have been 100% right, and it's frustrating because, as the old adage would say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you guys have been crying for the 300-yard Jalen Hurts game for weeks, and I think that's exactly what the doctor needs.
Seriously,
something to let him just go out there and let it rip.
Rip it.
Like, don't worry about anything else or everything in between. Just go out there and let it rip.
I'm hoping they can do that this week. I know the Steelers are going to stop the run. Exactly. They're going to try to stop the run. They got good defensive line. This is a game that you can use as a get right game. So I mean, do you have anything else about this, Pierre? Or should I move on to the next question? I think this can be our last segment.
You good?
All right. So we got a question in here. Is there any positives we can take from this game? Feels like we're 2-11 when we're actually 11-2.
It only
yes, there's positives.
Yeah.
Yes, there's positives.
We didn't exactly.
Saquon Barkley broke LaShawn McCoy's rushing record. Yes, there's positives,
bro. And I'm just mad at them, man.
We clinched the playoff spot, man.
Yeah, bro. Like again, that's I said it earlier, but brother, This is an 11-2 football team that's on a 9-game winning streak that just clinched the playoff spot for the 4th year in a row, and we acting like the sky falling, man.
I'm
Can
mad
we
that
please
they
get a grip
took
as
my
a collective,
joy, bro. They took my joy. They had to do this. They had to just make these stupid headlines. But I mean, I'm just mad at them because I wanted to start the podcast off with all of us doing this. That's all I wanted.
Man, you couldn't do it, Pierre. It's so sad because me and Parth was going to do that, and we was going to tell you since you coined Guantanamo Bay or Guantanamo Bay.
Hey. You said right.
You did it too. I did it last week. You did it now.
Nah, that was on purpose. It was more of a troll, but
yeah.
We was gonna have you doing the my man do it every time. He did it the last week.
No matter what everybody else doing.
It's funny, man. So my mom is convinced that this is eagles flying, and I'm like, Mom, it's not. She's like, share it on the podcast. I want them to know. I think it's an eagle flying, and I'm like, all right, I'll let the people know. I don't think that's what it is, Mom.
That ain't what it is. That ain't what it is, gang.
I don't think that's what. I'm sure that's not what it is.
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to the PHLY pod, but somebody told Zach Berman that they tried to get Zach to do it, and he was like, I don't think that I know completely what they're doing, so I'm just gonna not do it.
That's the most ZB response possible. I don't know if that's politically correct, so I'm gonna get back from this one. I think it's like at first I just thought it was like some like pipe down type, but like
that's what I thought. That's what I think it is.
It's the whole defense. I was like, I don't know, maybe it's like I don't know, but it's cool because all of them are doing it now.
Smitty did it too.
That's right. Smitty did do it too. It's a whole team because Coop started it with the Derrick Henry hit, and then they've been doing it since then. I like it. That's what there's a positive for you. The defense has some swagger for sure, man. Like that, like we said, like
the
that.
vibes are high on the defense, man.
Yeah, like they're having fun, bro. I mean, like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
What's that guy name? Jalen. What's his name? Javon. What's the cat's name? Kick rocks.
Javon Holland.
Yeah, he kick rocks.
Yeah, he can kick rocks. He definitely can kick rocks. So
we're having fun.
So I should have brought this up in the middle because then it would have been a good transition. But kicking game, I mean, it's abysmal at this point.
Somebody got to yell at Jake again, bro.
Bro, I don't know what bro. Like
I would like.
He doesn't mean to kick the 50 yards this year, and now it's affecting game management.
And that's my problem. That's my problem. Like
what was the one earlier this year? It was
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, and
see, like you sent him out here to kick that stupid 59-yard field goal, but then you got 57 where he's actually made 57 before. I mean, he made 61, so I mean, why shouldn't you be able to make 59? But he's actually made 57 in the rain, and you go sit here and say, "I'm a punt it. I'm a punt it." And I'm not going to complain because I do think him punting it won the game. But, like, what sign does this send to your kicker?
We don't trust you.
But is it sending a sign, or is it just being honest with the situation at hand? I mean,
how is he supposed to feel about that, though?
I know. Well, so on the TV copy, like, I was watching it. I also heard some other people saying it looked like he was almost relieved. It almost was like, I don't think he's mentally right now, bro. Like, I mean, missing extra points, missing kicks. This is not the Jake Elliott. He missed one extra point, but it's the fact that it's compounding. That's what's concerning. And so
is anybody on the team mentally right now, bro? Jalen Hurts, he's playing.
The defense, no aura. The defense.
The defense. Jalen has no aura. Jake Elliott, he's sighing of relief because he don't got to go on the field. A.J. Brown crashing out in the media.
It'll turn my man Jake Elliott into Piglet, dog. What are we doing, man? This is frustrating.
I don't know, man. The call at the time, I honestly was with it because I was like, I don't trust Jake right now. I wouldn't, because if he misses the kick and then you're giving him half the field, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, but then at the same time, we probably would have had a little bit more time to score if they scored.
So that's the other side of it, right? And at least you're attempting to get the points, which there's an argument to be made. Also, if we're gonna slander Avante all the time, a hell of a play. Get down there, field the kick like that. That was pretty great. But
special teams, son. That's right. There you go.
There's a positive for you. There's a positive for you. Special teams.
team. No, yeah,
Not-
that
not-
too.
not
but
kicking,
I'm
but
telling
punting.
him. I'm telling Devontae that's his home. There you go. You can make an impact somewhere on the team, son.
Smallest gunner in the league.
It don't matter. Just catch the ball. It's there.
That's so funny if you think about it. If because Sydney he was in because Sydney was out, but it's him and Keely Ringo on two different sides. Just think about that size differential, like running down the field. That's funny, man. Yeah, I don't know, Jake's got. I don't know. I don't hate Sirianni for that decision. Maybe
I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I would have went back to him. I would have let him kick.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
There's still confidence in him.
He hasn't made a 50-yarder all year. If he misses it again, are you putting more in a hole? Right, like that's the other side of it.
I trust the defense though.
You can trust the defense. But if you're talking about give him a vote of confidence, my point is if he misses it, is that going to hurt his confidence even more? Right, like it can go both ways. And the way he's just been so inconsistent, and I think it's so stark because he's been Mr. Consistent every other year in his career. Like he doesn't miss. Jake Elliott doesn't miss, and now all of a sudden,
so phenomenal last year, like so freaking good.
He was making everything, bro.
It was right in my. I went to that Buffalo game. I seen him kick that kick in my face in the storm. Right. I got sick because of that game, but I seen that kick, and that was one of the most phenomenal things I've ever seen in my life. So now to see him just be a shell of himself, it's like, yo,
it's weird, dude. Two of the best kickers in the league are just like completely off. Him and Tuck. It's weird.
I got folks texting me what's going on over there in Eagles land. This is what this team does to me, man.
It's gonna be a long week, bro. I was already doomed.
Bro, it's just Monday.
I know.
It's just Monday.
It's only Monday. That's why I said it's gonna be a long week.
Does Jalen speak tomorrow or is that Wednesday? I think it's tomorrow.
He speaks from the coordinator, and I think that coordinator speak Wednesday. No, coordinator speak Tuesday and coaches speak Wednesday. So Jalen might speak Wednesday. I think he speaks after Nick.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to figure it out, man. They don't have a choice. The team's too good. You can't waste this. I mean,
that's all right. The first person we can need to hear from is Kellen Moore. Somebody need to ask him these questions.
Agreed. I think that's enough to wrap it, right, guys? Well, before we wrap it, just wanna show off the jersey real quick. A little shout out.
A little bit over. You got to center it.
Right now, you just said Mac.
All right,
who's the man?
Shout out the Pope, man. Those are good days. Mac Attack, Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Mike Vick. Legendary days.
Hey, bro, man. I always ask the question whenever that trio is brought up. How did they not win the Super Bowl?
Don't ask the question. Why you gotta do that?
I would say sometimes you just gotta enjoy that it happened.
Let me enjoy it. Exactly. Just thank them for the memories.
Mm-hmm.
Thank them for the
Don't
memories.
Be sad that it's over. Be happy that it ever happened.
Exactly. You want to wrap it up here?
Yeah. We're at 163. Thank you to all 163 of you that tuned in for the stream tonight. I think this was a pretty good episode. We're gonna release this as a pod tomorrow for those of you who didn't tap into the stream on whichever podcast streaming platform you're listening on. Be sure to leave us a like and a review. Rate it 5 stars. Subscribe on everybody's phone: your moms, your dads, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters. But yeah, we got anything else to add? That's crazy, Parth.
Go find your ex and just subscribe, man. Like it's a subscription. We want it. I don't care about anything else.
Ain't talking to that boy like the Green Goblin.
Dude, message her.
Hey, it's Christmas time, man. It won't hurt, bro. It won't hurt.
Watch Spider-Man. The Green Goblin mask didn't work out for him.
You're better off waiting until Jalen Hurts starts playing a little better. The aura's dead right now.
There's no aura in the air right now.
Well, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tapping into the stream. Go Birds.
Go Birds, man.
Go Birds. Also, one more time before y'all go. My man was the one. The name is Quinyanamo Bay.
I won.
You did win.
I made this rank a fork with me, but a scissors.